What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you as always, and today we're finally going over the carrier plate setup. So stay tuned. We got a good video coming for you right now. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Wanted to get out here in the environment, afternoon, get that perfect lighting going on for you guys to go over the plate carrier setup in the video finally. A lot of people reach out to me on Instagram and Reddit, wanted to know exactly just how I had this plate carrier set up, and this is the completed version, or at least what I'm rocking with right now. So trying to get some just some physical stuff in with it. I've got the plates in right now, obviously got a little bit of you know, magazines and knives, tourniquet, whatnot. Just trying to get some reps in this thing. Just be really super familiar with the setup, how to move in it. Obviously, you know, hiking up a little bit of some hills that we got here, doing some laps around the neighborhood. Just trying to get used to moving around with armor on is something that I'm not used to. Reason behind a plate carrier, or maybe the idea behind it is, you know, why would you need one of these things? Why would any civilian need plate carrier in 2022? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's just stuff that you might not be thinking about, or maybe the current world events or political climates made you think this way, and maybe having some body armor for you or your loved ones is not such a bad idea anymore. I mean, think about all the school shootings, you know, the shootings in malls and whatnot. Not saying that you're going to have to wear this thing every day, all day in your everyday life, but it may be something nice to throw in the back of the truck or have in a closet, or just have. I mean, ultimately, body armor is not the do-all, end-all for certain situations. Like if you had to bug out, you probably don't want to be toting this 15-pound, you know, thing around if you're not planning on, you know, getting shot at or taking, you know, stuff like that to the body. So, like I said, it's not a perfect situation. It's not a do-all, end-all piece of equipment, but it is nice to have, especially if you like to be, you know, that kind of guy that likes being prepared. So to dive into the plate carrier setup, kind of the way that I've, you know, equipped this one out for my personal use, we got to get back to the basics. So back to where this thing started at. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and go over the full setup of the plate carrier. And obviously, the first thing you're going to need to do any of this, to start anywhere, is you need to pick out the right plate carrier for your setup. So what I mean by that is you've got to go with the idea of, do I want something minimalistic? Do I want to carry the kitchen sink? Do I want to be light and fast but still have the vital essentials that I need for protecting my family, or whatever the case may be where you need to put this thing on? So my immediate thought was, yeah, I need a plate carrier that is minimalistic. I could throw a jacket on over this if I had to, meaning without the placard, of course, but I could throw this under a hoodie, over a hoodie. Very, very adaptable. Like, necessarily, I don't have a mission per se, but the uses, the idea of, you know, what I'm going to use this for can vary to what you guys are experiencing in your area. So with any good plate carrier, you are going to need a base to start with. You're going to need to know what company you want to go with, what your mission set is, what you are building this thing to do. So I chose T3 gear out of California, very close to Coronado, where the Naval Special Warfare you know, department is, and man, do they know what they are freaking doing with plate carriers. I chose the Ranger Green setup because I wanted something that was like the gray man idea. I didn't really want a bunch of multicam, camouflage, you know, spooking a bunch of people if I did have to put this on under a shirt or over a hoodie. I wanted to be able to get in and get out, move around without having a lot of people, just, you know, the less eyeballs on me as possible. So the way that they ship this carrier, it's pretty much ready to go out of the box. As you'll see in the video, they did ship a MOLLE placard with, I believe it's got 6 rows of MOLLE on it that you can utilize to do pretty much anything you want to. If you want to build your own placard, if you want to put, you know, whatever mag carriers, accessories, radios, all that stuff, if you want to build out your own kit in the front, you'll have the ability to do that. I had bigger plans for mine, so really that was the first thing that went in this build project. But as you can see, guys, the T3 laser cut Tomahawk gets shipped with a bunch of features. You've got a MOLLE field up front for hook and loop patches identification on the front chest. You've got a very minimalistic style buckle, quick release on the off shoulder that is completely serviceable. So if you're like myself, you can take this thing and make it just as customizable as you want to. And believe it or not, those minimalistic straps are extremely useful. But the first thing that we did look at is I had to replace that front placard. I did like the laser cut molly, which I may use that for something else later. I do like the swift clips, but overall I wanted something a little bit more customized to my taste. So the first thing that we looked at was the straps and the cummerbund style. As you guys see here, this is the stock T3 cummerbund, which is actually a very nice cummerbund if you don't mind doing the hook and loop every single time you don and doff the plate carrier. That was kind of a big thing for me. I didn't really like the Velcro. Velcro is a wearable item, so just keep that in mind if you do want to change this out. And like we mentioned earlier, the hook and loop design of the cummerbund that comes with the T3 Tomahawk actually is pretty good. I do like the laser cut options they have, the accents on the mag carriers on the side, which are very adequate. So if you're going to put anything in these things like magazines, radios, knives, tourniquets, you know, pistol mags, rifle mags, you will definitely be able to do that with the stock cummerbund. The only reason that we reached out to Blaze Defense Systems and got one of their first spear tube, like a retrofit kit, is just because if I want to take this thing on and off for range time or training or whatever, I really hate the idea of having to reach up, remove that placard when I really have it where I want it, and be able to get out of those tubes pretty easily. But you'll see here, this thing has great retention. I can turn this thing upside down. It's not going anywhere, and you'll see that later on in the Blaze Defense placard as well. So I really didn't plan on running magazines there, but if I did have to go ahead and bring the kitchen sink with me as far as ammunition for whatever situation I thought I was going to get into, you're definitely going to be able to throw just a full combat load of 7 or 8 magazines in the sides of this. Keep the front slick. Use that for other things, but you'll be good to go on the whole thing. So like I mentioned earlier, we did reach out to the great guys at Blaze Defense Systems. Shout out to them. They were immediately, you know, wanting to jump in and be a part of this project, and they reached out and sent one of their retrofit style cummerbunds that is fully elastic for this plate carrier. And like I said, the fit and finish was outstanding. I actually do like the Ranger Green on this one a little bit better, and the major advantage is you have the first spear tubes already installed. So you're going to be able to lift that placard up, put your first spear tubes in there, get the sizing correct. And the reason that I always like, and me being a first-time guy to a plate carrier in general, I did a lot of research, and I did not like how rigid the cummerbund options were. I read a lot that if you're doing a lot of running or hiking or whatever you're doing in this thing, the elastic cummerbund, yes, it does fit tight, but it allows your body to breathe. So if you're going to be doing a lot of exerting exercises, whatever, moving stuff, you know, shooting, dynamic movement, there's a Haley strategic saying there. But yeah, I chose the elastic because I do like the option to be able to run this with a jacket, t-shirt, size this thing up real quick, get it adaptable to what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm just a huge fan of the elasticity of the cummerbund. You see here, we got plenty of room for magazines. This thing's not going anywhere. Again, to each his own. Fill it with magazines, tourniquets, IFAKs, knives, multi-tools, pistol mags, whatever you can fit in there, basically, it's good to go. I really wouldn't worry about it because if you're like myself, I'm not going to be jumping out of airplanes or anything like that. So, you know, for my usage, it's perfect. My go-to patch company on this project was Patch Panel. Those guys are based out of Canada. The service is extremely quick. They have a ton of options to choose from. And you can see here I got my last name with the M81 Woodland camo with the Georgia State flag embroidered. Man, it's incredible, the quality. Also on the plate here, you've got hook and loop everywhere. So if you want an ID patch on the back, if you want an ID patch on the front, you've got laser cut molly on the entire back panel section. I don't plan on running a backpack, but you can do so if you want to. My next issue, which really wasn't a small issue, was just me being more nitpick than anything. I really wanted to replace that top left quick disconnect buckle that was plastic like the Swift clips, but I wanted to use a steel ITW G-hook that was powder coated to match the other hardware. And I've had a lot of feedback on the G-hook, and trust me, I've already been doing a lot of, you know, hiking up and down ridges with this thing. It is freaking solid. You can see here in the footage that the T3 Gear LC Tomahawk is extremely adaptable to what you want to do. So like we mentioned, if you're left-hand or right-hand shooter, that quick disconnect buckle can be moved to either shoulder, so if you're left or right-handed, or in this case, it's completely serviceable. So It's not made to be taken apart very easily, but it can be done. So if in the field, you know, whatever the case may be, I'm not saying you get shot, but whatever happens, if somebody smashes your plate carrier or if it gets in a vehicle wreck or whatever, and you've got to get out of that thing quickly and you bust a buckle in the meantime, that is completely serviceable. So what we did is I took the plastic buckle hardware off. I went to Whiskey 24, which is a great website for odd and end stuff like this. It's something that I found out in some research I did, but they have a plethora of ITW products, which these buckles are actually ITW, I think, as well. But they had the G-hooks and powder-coated FDE, which is what I wanted to match the other hardware. But I immediately was able to slide this buckle off, throw on the G-hook, which would remind you of like some Sitka gear or outdoor wear that utilizes G-hooks. That can actually has a huge strength, you know, tensile strength to break this thing. So you guys are not going to really have to worry about this thing coming off and on you, you know, without you wanting it to. So, like I said, we got that buckle replaced, threw a G-hook on here, and now I have a low-profile option for the top of the plate carrier that's not going to stick out on either side. It's not plastic anymore, but again, if this gets broken, I've got some major problems, but this is completely serviceable, so you can fix it anywhere you have to. So as we mentioned before, the T3 Tomahawk does come with a placard on the front with the Swift clips that they provided for the review. Again, this might come in handy on another setup, but I have a little bit better idea for the placard I want to run on this particular plate carrier. So we took that off. As you can see, that reveals the Blaze Defense Systems first spear tubes. That's where you're going to make all your adjustments on that hook and loop down below that laser molly field on the top of the plate carrier. But right there, we took that placard off, and we have just some awesome products to show you guys to make this thing a little bit more user-friendly. So we started by removing the Swift clip system, which you can actually, depending on what placard you are going to be using, you can raise and lower the placard height. So depending on what manufacturer you go with, there is a little bit of variation with how the placard's laid out to how high it rides on the plate carrier, which is awesome that they even think of this, the guys over at T3. So we removed the Swift clip system. We got rid again of the plastic buckles and the bulk of the plastic buckles, and you're going to see why here in just a little bit. So the reasons that we got rid of the Swift clip system, which you're going to see work in conjunction with the Faro Concepts knife nook extremely well as far as the placement, but I didn't like how it kind of hindered me grabbing that knife from the center of either hand, you know, pretty easily. It kind of got in the way. So the guys over at Jtactical Solutions sent over some of their just patent pending J-hooks that are made out of thermoplastic material, otherwise known as Tigris. And this stuff has a tensile strength. It's insane-o how just low profile, flat, out of the way these clips are, and they can be utilized for a ton of different stuff, but this is specifically made to run your placard on the front of your plate carrier and be the most minimalistic design as possible. And just a huge shout out to Jtactical Solutions for sending those J-hooks over. So next up, obviously, we need a placard to go on the front of this plate carrier unless we just want to run around with plates on our chest, which is not what I wanted to do with this thing. So reached out to the great team over at HRT Tactical, and they absolutely hooked the channel up. They sent over one of their very hard to come by HRT Maximus placards, which is one of the coolest ideas just for storage, magazine options, tourniquets, whatever you want to do. This placard is going to be able to get you there and get you there with all your stuff where you need it. So as you'll see, we did a little bit of unboxing here. They sent over one of their North American Rescue branded HRT IFAKs, which is extremely awesome, which I chose to run this on my battle belt just to keep the front of my plate carrier clean. And I'm not going to be running plates 100% of the time, so I wanted to have access to the IFAK on my first line of kit, which is the belt area that you saw in a previous video. They also sent over the H harness, which is going to be really cool if I ever do get tired of running plates. I'll talk to the guys over at HRT, and we're going to be utilizing their placard system with the Maximus that I can also run on a chest rig. So they sent over the air pass system that clips on via hook and loop on the back of the Maximus placard. That way it's going to give you a little bit more breathability if you're running on a hot summer day in a t-shirt. They also sent over one of the newest CAT, I believe it's a Gen 7 tourniquet that we're going to run exclusively on the placard. And if you guys want to know, yes, of course, the Maximus comes with the Swift Clip system just automatically installed that also works in conjunction with their H harness if you want to run their chest rig configuration. But like I said, we're going to go ahead and slap the J hooks. But yeah, so the Tigris clips are going to go in there. And again, just a really, really cool design if you're going for that super flat, minimalist look. If you are going to be utilizing this real estate that's very limited to its max. So we took the placard fully built, as you would say, and this thing is just built like an absolute brick shit house, meaning it's very solid. The construction is super nice. The quality is there. You're going to have inserts that come automatically with it for 5.56 magazines, but they also fit flawlessly. Tourniquets, ferro knife nook right behind it. Really anything you want to put in there. They also have inserts for sub guns, pistol magazines. I think they even have one for general purpose. But you also have built-in pistol mags, double stack style, on the side of the placard itself. So, and they do have plastic or like thermoplastic inserts that do have great retention. I can tell you right now, a fully loaded Glock magazine goes in there like a freaking glove. Now, I will tell you guys, there is a trick to getting this in there for the elastic inserts to hold just the absolute best retention that you could possibly get. Now, what you're going to want to do is put your magazines or the magazine that you want to use in the insert. Go ahead and put you a piece of printer paper on both sides so it'll pass that hook and loop flawlessly. Get that all the way snug down into the insert. Pull out your printer paper and smash down that placard on both sides to your insert. What that is going to do for you is it's going to give that insert like a memory of the retention that you want. So it's going to hold that open, so indexing the magazine is a lot easier when you're going back with an empty mag or refilling your placard. It's going to be really easy and make that not such a chore, because that's why most people go to a Kydex or thermoplastic insert. But I'm telling you right now, I'm really happy with the elastic insert that is provided from HRT itself. I think they did a great job, knocked it out of the park, great retention. I really don't think I'm going to need another product to go in it to replace it. Now, again, the way that I was thinking on this placard is I didn't really want to utilize the full triple placard up here for the magazines for my AR. I wanted to run my cat tourniquet up front as well, but I didn't want to take up both of the GP pouches that are included in the front with hook and loop on the Maximus placard. So I went ahead and utilized a tourniquet on the far left side of the placard where I had the strong side reloads intact, because like I said, if I had to switch this around and carry more magazines, I would rather stuff those in the Blaze Defense elastic pockets that are provided on the cummerbund instead of running them all on the front shingle. So you guys will see up front, I'm running a cat tourniquet. I've got 2 magazines right now. I have the front one just completely vacant for other stuff right now, just to keep a super lightweight load so I can throw in and out of my truck. But I'm also utilizing a center mounted Folsom from Brian Selby of Selby Knives with a Ferro Concepts knife nook that is installed hook and loop style in the front. And the reason behind that is if I had to get somebody that's trying to pin me up against a vehicle or a wall or whatever to get to my belt where my Glock is, I can reach this knife center line of the body. I can grab it from left to right side and fight my way back to a primary or secondary firearm. And of course, like we mentioned earlier, the hook and loop is awesome for IDing somebody or just putting some morale patches on there. You're going to see I run a blacked out either a Georgia state flag or an IR American flag up front, and also designate a med pocket, so in case I am for some reason unconscious or incapacitated, somebody maybe can go in there and grab some medical supplies. With right now I just have some PPE gloves, and then I have a cat tourniquet behind that. But again, I run the full HRT IFAK on my belt kit, so I like to run it there. But I am going to eventually get some medical supplies that fit in this a little bit easier. I will say that you could probably get the HRT IFAK inside that pouch if you really tried. I wasn't trying to cram it in there. I'd rather run that in my Raptor Tactical IFAK pouch that is on my belt. But again, you can stuff anything like trauma shears, tourniquets, chest seals. You could probably put all that in there anyway, because like I said, it's very spacious. And yes, I know guys are going to ask what plates I'm running, and right now we are teamed up with Ace Link Armor. They did provide the standalone ceramic plates, which I believe these are 3A plus rated, so up to I believe 30 caliber, 7.62 by 39 taking direct multiple hits on these plates, you're going to be fine. I do like the idea of ceramic and not having to run like a steel with a spall liner, because spall is a very real and deadly issue with people that just run steel plates. I didn't want to deal with any of that, and I just like having one plate in here without a backer. But guys, that is pretty much it. As you can see, it's a very minimalist design on this T3 Tomahawk. I loved how all the companies came together and really just worked in conjunction with themselves, meaning the HRT placard here is just extremely comfortable. I've got all the room that I need to run anything, and you got to have room for stuff like water, snacks, that type of thing. But the idea behind this plate carrier, if I have to wear armor, I want to be lightweight, be able to get in, get out, get stuff for family members I need to get a hold of, and get off the X, get out of the danger zone. And again, huge shout out to Selby Knives. This Folsom knife right here is extremely well built. Go check him out on Brian Selby, SelbyKnives.com. But the way that this works is you basically have a full Kydex sheath in here, like I said earlier, that does work in conjunction with the Faro Concepts knife nook. And then I can run this knife directly center line of my body. The retention is great. Again, the Maximus placard, huge shout out to the guys at HRT. Those guys didn't hesitate a bit to be a part of this project, and I could not put this together without you guys. This was the icing on top of this awesome system. So re-indexing, super sweet one-handed, and it's in there. If you do that trick I showed you on the video, it's going to help you out. You've got dual pistol mags here on the side. You've got huge amounts of room in these GP pockets, and you can see I've got gloves in here, extra identifying patches for med kits, whatever. You can fit a full iPhone 13 in these. That'll give you a little bit of better idea of the room in these matching pouches. Again, running a cat tourniquet, also provided by the guys at HRT, but it fits flawlessly. Again, re-indexing stuff is not a chore. You don't have to have Kydex inserts. These elastic inserts work great. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. You got an awesome no quarter flag here by the guys at Patch Panel. A little bit of IR going on. Oh, and also I did cover up that G-hook with some Alpha Carry Solutions like strap covers or elastic keepers is what he calls them. But I utilize this to cover these buckles. But if I do have to take off this plate carrier in an emergency, I can rip these tubes, I can take off the G-hook, and I am out of this thing in seconds versus having to worry about a plastic buckle or fiddle with flipping this placard up, removing hook and loop, all that crap. I mean, if you run that stuff, that's fine. I love having these tubes because they're just so fast to get in and out of. It's crazy. So huge shout out to Blaze Defense Systems for sending over that retrofit kit. That really made this thing that much more enjoyable to wear. And guys, this thing's really not heavy. I think these plates are about 3.5, 4 pounds, something like that is what it feels like. The plate carrier itself's a pound. With all the stuff loaded, I think I'm right around that 14.5, 15 pound range, which that sounds like a lot, but once you get it on and the weight is distributed properly, it's really not bad. But guys, go play around with it. It's fun to do. It's fun to get a hold of, and you never know. You actually might need this if you have to take a rifle class that requires you to have armor, or if you want to keep this in your truck for shit hit the fan. Guys, you never know. America is a crazy place these days. The world is a crazy place. The current administration makes it even crazier. And I'm telling you right now, go practice your Second Amendment right. Use it, train with it, lose weight with it. There's all kind of stuff you can do that is practical. And just have fun with it, guys. That's what we're about. But if you want to have, if you have any questions at all, shoot me a DM. Check me out on Instagram. I've got Mojo Buck 80, and I've also got Mojo Actual, which is more the tactical side of the house. So if you got any questions on how I put this together, I'll have all the links to all the companies that were included. And guys, as always, man, we will catch you on the next one.